So you might have seen the terrible incident occurring in Colorado over the past weekend. The senseless and tragic shooting perpetrated by a lunatic at a gay nightclub, killing 5 people. Oh wow. What a terrible thing to happen, eh? I sure do hope no one decides to use this to further their own agenda in a psychotic and ghoulish way. Oh, that's exactly what the left did, of course. Led by Joe Biden, calling for more gun control because, as we all know, it's SUVs and guns who commit the crime, not the person. I always find it weird. None of these leftists call for prescription drug control, as it always turns out that these lunatics are loaded up on quite the concoction of mind-altering substances their doctor gave them. But I guess when you yourself are taking all of those drugs, you don't want to bring attention to it. So obviously that started the outrage gravy train, and everyone who's anyone on the left was pretending to care about the incident, and it was clearly a homophobic attack by an alt-right Nazi, and one of the most notable people reading and screaming about how the right wing are just foaming at the mouth to kill gay people was Ben Collins, a man most well known for paying keffals so he can fabricate news stories about them. Watch this clip. It's honestly impressive how someone is so psychopathic they can make the deaths of people all about them.
I do want to say, though, am I doing something wrong here? Here are some headlines that I wrote the last 6 months. Fueled by internet's far-right machine, anti-LGBTQ threats shut down trans rights and drag events. Remember, there was a drag event happening in Colorado. Anti-trans stalkers at Kiwi Farms, which is a anti-trans website that stalks people, are chasing one victim around the world. Their list of targets is growing. That was a couple months ago. Doctors under threat from far-right activists for providing trans care. Boston Children's Hospital faces bomb threat after right-wing harassment campaign. There were 3 of those bomb threats. FBI charges Massachusetts woman with Boston Children's Hospital bomb threats, so they found one of the people. At least 20 Republican politicians have claimed that schools are making accommodations for students who identify as cats. That was before the midterms. Here are 3 more from my colleagues in the last 3 weeks. As election nears, some conservative groups have ramped up anti-trans campaign ads. Far-right figures appear to be testing Twitter's boundaries for anti-LGBTQ speech. GOP senator targets TikTok influencer with anti-transgender taunt. And I'm just wondering, what could I have done different? Seriously, as reporters, what can we do different?
So Ben declared he just wasn't being heroic enough. Although he was totally a hero, obviously, guys. He just didn't call everyone racisms and anti-alphabet people enough. That was the only thing he did wrong. But just remember, a terrible right-wing racist homophobe did this. Probably under the instruction of Donald Trump. Oh my god. So this was too good an opportunity to gain some ground on their political opponents. Sorry, that was a terrible slip of the tongue. I meant everyone really cared deeply about this tragedy and started sharing their stories about this totally senseless incident, starting with a man who legalized pedophilia in California. Now this is a stand-up guy who you should all trust implicitly, and he started using the tragedy to decry people who use the word groomer for pedophiles. Of course he doesn't like that, does he? I wonder why. Stating that groomer is an anti-LGBTQ+, what's the plus for? Hate word, which I always find odd when woke people do this because they're just calling all gay people kid touchers, which no one else is. But anyway, if you call someone a groomer, you're inciting violence against alphabet people. Oh my god. The right-wing violence is just so out of control. When will these lunatics stop and let everybody live in peace? Then you had the most ghoulish people who are actually at the nightclub while it happens, wanting to make a quick buck, so they took that bag and spouted the party line. I mean, come on. There must be some things you won't do for money. But remember, this is all Elon Musk's fault. He must be commanding people to do this through Twitter or something. It's all right-wing bigotry. He is obviously to blame. Then there's Twitter's resident age of consent enthusiast, Vouch, completely losing their mind in a post where he seems to be angry people aren't letting him groom children in peace, and is using the shooting to vent about it. So in case you hadn't guessed, these people have decided that the reason for these attacks are prominent right-wing people saying maybe all these drag queen strip shows for children super woke leftists has been setting up the past year or two are an extremely odd thing to be doing with children, because they are. And a lot of people involved keep getting arrested for being child molesters. But this is the sole reason for the attack on the gay nightclub according to the left. It can only be someone radicalized by this harmful rhetoric of the truth, which led horse semen connoisseur Senkuga of the Young Turks to go on this insane tirade against all of the right wing, branding them all pedophiles in retaliation. Let's watch, shall we?
And the right wing's like, yes, I love how they molest the little kids like that. Go get them, Boy Scouts, go get them, priests. Please vote for our molesters and our pedophiles, Republicans say. Republicans, you're guilty, okay? And I'll tell you right now, the #1 reason they constantly talk about pedophilia is because it's going through their heads. nonstop they're thinking about kids. I guarantee it. The reason Tim Pool wears a beanie is because he's trying to contain the pedophilia that's in his head. That's why he's always talking about it. He's seeing it everywhere. Why? Because he's projecting.
Well, he might be right about Tim Pool. He does seem to be making terrible music aimed squarely at 13-year-old emo girls nowadays. But aside from being hilarious, Senk was making the point that it was all projection. It is you who is in fact the pedophile for not wanting to have drag queens give lap dances to kids, you absolute bigot. I hope you are ashamed of yourselves. Big yikes, friendo. So these people have all found the angle they want to push. For some reason, this shooting is a direct result of Twitter accounts like Libs of TikTok and Tucker Carlson on television pushing violent, unhinged hate speech like don't take your children to gay nightclubs to watch drag queens strip. It's weird. They're all moving lockstep with one another. Sure would be a shame if somebody fucked all this up for them, wouldn't it? Uh-oh. It turns out the suspect was in fact actually a leftist and is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. And in court documents submitted by their lawyers requested to be called Mux Anderson Aldrich and to be referred to as they instead of him. Oh no! It is in fact a mentally ill leftist who perpetrated this terrible crime. Oh, wow. So what happened? Did everyone blaming the right wing for this come out and apologize and admit they were wrong? No, of course not. What do you think a leftist is? A real person? Don't be silly. They instead changed tact and now the shooter is a victim and actually a hero, just like all the people he killed. And this was in fact a result of an online harassment campaign by right-wing trolls. It's almost like these people don't give a fuck about anything other than the agenda they are paid to push. Once again, the left are thwarted by the truth coming out. Funny how that keeps happening, isn't it? That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe to see more content like this. Thanks, boy.